Well, it is officially US Open week on the Big D podcast, so you know what that means? I'm lacing up the driver. Before I bring in today's guest, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page, for you to know if we're more conservative with the iron off the tee, taking the 3-wood, or maybe once in a while using the driver. Also, check out the Big D podcast for all your audio listeners on Spotify and Apple. So back to cover the U.S. Open, my golfing buddy from the UK, Tom. So Tom, can you believe it? It's U.S. Open weekend. We're heading to Hollywood. You know what that means?
Yep, we do. We look. I can't believe we're already talking about the third major of the year, Dylan. Feels like a long time ago now that we said John Rahm was going to win Augusta. You were on Brooks, right, at the PGA, so happy days there. Victor Hovland second for me, so not so happy days. And Rose should definitely have done better. He's in contention right now at the Canadian Open as we speak. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be it's an exclusive golf course. We don't know a ton about it. We've got our best guesses in mind, and we know that the old Playboy Mansion overlooks 13th and 14 at the at this course. But yeah, plenty to look forward to this week.
Yeah, obviously the big golfing point and golfing talking point in golf this week has been the PGA LIV and DP World Tour merging. It's, if you haven't heard of it, it's been the number one story in golf, Tom. So what's your view on it? And to me, it almost looks like the PGA Tour, like Jay Monahan really just absolutely hit the skids with this one. Like literally everything that could go wrong for him did. Because not only did he lose credibility, but he lost so many top golfers to the other tour.
It seems like he could have done this 5 years ago. The offer was there to do what he's done right now 5 years ago. And that doesn't look good when he's basically fought against it, battled against it, said everything he said against LIV and the Public Investment Fund, and then just surrendered to it anyway. So it's what he said and what he's done over the past 18 months that's really seen the backlash. I feel probably a little bit sorry for the players that didn't take the money in the end, because I don't think their loyalty's been rewarded. We're yet to find out maybe whether that changes. I don't think it means a ton for us, Dylan. I think we just see more of the best golfers in the world more regularly.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Roy McIlroy, because I feel like from a golfer standpoint, he's gone through more pressure than anybody, because he's been one of not the most outspoken anti-LIV golfers, and I feel like being outspoken has hurt Roy, because we've seen Roy not necessarily perform to his best. He didn't perform the Sunday at the U.S. Open. He lost the Open Championship to Cam Smith, where literally he could not make a putt, and then missed the cut at Augusta, right?
Yep. Yeah, he did. Yep.
And then not really a threat at the PGA. So
no, he's definitely struggled, and people talking about how good a form he was in going into the final round, going into Augusta, and he wasn't. I didn't think. I thought he was struggling in the bigger events. I think he had that win in Europe that he focused on, but I think that he's been struggling for a long time, and you can just tell by his face and his expressions that he knows he's been played. So I can see why he struggled. It's whether he bounces back from that with a win in Canada tonight, and then plays that into a big performance, I guess, at the PGA, the US Open, sorry, this week.
I mean, we'll say this with Roy: he has performed better. He was good in final round. The PGA was really good at the Memorial, threat in Canada, but then again, Roy's always a threat in Canada. So we'll see what happens next week. When you think U.S. Open, what are 3 rules that come to mind?
3 rules. You've gotta hit it. Well, you've got to hit it far, you've got to hit it straight, and you've got to be good around the greens. I don't know if you're gonna have to hit it as long this time around. I do think you're going to have to be slightly straighter. I know they've been talking about maybe it's a little bit like Masters, where you can be a little bit offline again. That's going to play into certain players' hands. But yeah, just USGAs, they're going to set out tough. They're going to grow the rough where they can. one thing here, Dylan, it's like where it's California, where people talk about Riviera and Torrey Pines. It's not Kikuyu grass. It's not bent grass in the rough. It's Bermuda, and it's bent grass greens, pure bent grass greens, no power. So slightly different, maybe California course than what you're used to.
Yeah, usually you think polo greens, especially at polo greens or maybe smaller greens like you would see at a Pebble.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be interesting. Like what his talk was about Max Homa and how good he was in California and how it's going to be a perfect venue for him. But if it's
Oh,
nothing
wait a
like,
minute! You wait a minute. I thought it was H for horses. It's H for horses. It's H for Homa in Hollywood,
yeah,
right?
exactly that. But if it plays nothing like Riviera and Torrey Pines, then what are we talking about here? Like he's not been good in majors, and if it's nothing like those courses, he may struggle. We're going to find out whether the California thing is a golf course agronomy thing for him or just being close to home. If it's just being close to home, then he could have a good week.
Well, I mean, if that were the case, then Xander Schauffele would win every form of insurance last U.S. Open in San Diego, right?
Yeah, but he can't do it.
So obviously, first event in LA, first major in LA since '95. But this event did host the 2017 Walker Cup, and there are a couple prominent players who, especially Americans who played there: Scottie Scheffler, Collin Morikawa, my guy Will Zalatoris, who I would have picked for this Open, but can't. But back injury, so can't play. Doggone it, I wanted him to win this tournament so bad. Do you think a little like Matt Fitzpatrick at last year's U.S. Open, where he won the U.S. Amateur at Brookline, does it help that those guys played?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think it only strengthens Scottie Scheffler's case that he knows the place, but it's not going to play like it did at the Walker Cup. It's not going to play like it did in the 2012 or 2013 Pac-12 championships where Max Homa hit a 61. So it's a different golf course. It's set up by the USGA. It's going to be different.
I mean, yes and no, but I mean, it helps if you have good fond memories. I mean, we saw what happened with Fitz last year. It seemed like
Yeah.
if it was a U.S. Open, a U.S. Amateur, Walker Cup, Fitz fell in love with the course. There were certain courses you played well at.
Yeah, no, you're right. It could do, and if it does, then so be it. If it does it for, Max Homa, then great. I will just whatever. I'll be taking a different take of point of view on it. I think. What do you think, course similarities wise, or correlating courses we like to call them? Which courses would you be looking at? I think it's really tough for LA Country Club, but which ones would you be looking at?
I'm going all over the map here. I mean, people are going to say Riviera because Riviera and LA Country Club are basically what a pitch and wedge apart, but I'm not sure how much you look at that.
Both designed by George Thomas as well.
I look maybe Torrey Pines, especially U.S. Open layout, but I think you look a bit of Torrey, a bit of Riviera, but I also look at three venues which Gil Hanse redesigned: the 2020 U.S. Open in Wingfoot, last year's PGA and U.S. Open course. I think it's going to be a bit of Wingfoot, a bit of Southern Hills, a bit of Brookline, together with an ounce of fans.
Yeah, no, it would make sense. Look, if it's a little bit like Wingfoot in the 2020 thing, I'm going to be happy because one of my picks later on that we're going to talk about certainly did well there.
Let me guess. Oh, his initials BD.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they maybe. Shinnecock as well, maybe 2018. There's a little bit of that in there, and there's been a lot of talk about it being similar to Augusta in terms of what you can do off the tee here.
Yeah, I've heard from a couple of people that LA Country Club could be the quote unquote Shinnecock of the West.
There you go. I mean, what do we think of in Shinnecock? That was a Brooks Cup year, wasn't it?
That was a crap fest of a golf course, if you ask me. Like I remember Brooks hit a shot like 10 feet from the hole, and it went in the bunker. Literally.
Yeah, it's an interesting golf course, and there was a lot of thing there. But when you look at it, Brooks, Tommy, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Xander was sixth there. Tyrrell Hatton was sixth there. Justin Rose top 10. Do we have to talk about Justin Rose again for a third major this year?
Oh gosh, somebody give me the ball back after he finishes T6. So, I mean, you coming into this year, a lot of people would have envisioned the big three being Scottie Scheffler, Jon Rahm, and Rory McIlroy. Well, Jon Rahm won Augusta. Scottie Scheffler's won the Waste Management and Players Championship. But who would the third golfer be? Is Rory McIlroy the third golfer in the big three, or is somebody supplanting him?
Brooks now, isn't it? Second and first of the two major championships, all that matters to him. He's probably the one. Or I'm going to put Victor Hovland in there. That's your two choices.
Actually, I have Hovland because you look at the last three majors, Hovland's been there, and eventually, I mean, you knew a win was going to come for Hovland. The fact he won Memorial doesn't bother me. In fact, it makes me more excited because I think he's going to win a major this year.
I think he's going to win too. I think he's going to win this and Hoylake. So, look, let's talk about why Hovland's going to win this major. When you look at the recent trends of US Open champions, so the last four have all been first-time major winners. So Fitzpatrick, Rahm, DeChambeau, Woodland, all winning their first majors. They all had a top 10 or top 8 finish in their most recent start at the PGA. 5th for Fitz, 8th for Rahm, 4th for DeChambeau, 8th for Woodland. Where was Victor Hovland? 2nd. Where was he at the Masters? So, you add all those things in, I can't see past Hovland.
The only problem that I have with Hovland here is that I think he's better when you've got wider fairways, which his course would have wider fairways for an open setup compared to some of these other courses. But I feel like for Hovland, his best route to win a major is the Open Championship. We saw what happened in St. Andrews last year. I mean, I don't think anybody would be surprised if Hovland won the US Open. But it would be fascinating to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's more just hopeful. Like I've just thought completely differently about Hovland since the Masters. Since he played so well at St Andrews, carried it over to the Masters, I just thought this is a different golfer. This is a person who's ready to win major championships. Almost paid it off for me at the PGA. Didn't. I imagine there's probably one of those other three golfers for you that stands out.
Yeah, I mean, wait, could you rephrase the question, please?
So of the three players that we talked about there, Hovland, Rahm, and Scheffler, I imagine one of the others is one that you want to talk about the most.
Oh, definitely Scheffler, because Scottie Scheffler has been so consistent. Like a bad week for Scottie Scheffler is like T10, T12.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember somebody ball striking this well at all recently. The only question with Scottie Scheffler is, can he bleep and get an average putting weekend? Because if Scottie Scheffler puts together a really good putting week, forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, even if he just loses 2 strokes on the greens, he's going to win. That's the scary part. It's all this talk that we can have about all these different players that I think could potentially win. If Scottie Scheffler has a very average putting week, he will win. So there we go.
Here's an interesting one. Everybody's going to think of Scottie, Hovland. Could Jon Rahm be forgotten? Because, I mean, yeah, he won the match. I can't believe the guy who won the green jacket might be forgotten about this week. But, I mean, Jon Rahm won the last US Open at Torrey Pines. I feel like California is better golf for Rahm than New York was. It's funny how I didn't like Rahm for Oak Hill, but love him here. While I love Brooks for Oak Hill, I don't love Brooks for this golf course.
I'd rather bet Brooks than Rahm.
I think I'd rather have Rahm than Brooks.
I think Rahm's gone some way. He was really good at ball striking wise at Memorial, but I just think there's something about him. I don't know if it's just getting that Masters win has just seen him cool off a little bit. I don't know if there's this kind of live disruption that's going on with him right now, but for some reason, I think there's just something about John Rahm. I was so confident about him at the Masters, and I feel so the other way about him right now at the US Open. So if he wins, then great. I mean, he's won the last US Open in California, so what more do you need?
So obviously, Tom, we are all over the place with numbers, guys we like. So what are your bets looking like this Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm definitely going to be on Victor Hovland. There's no question about that. I did bet Tyrrell Hatton at 50-1 during the Canadian Open. I think I'm going to go with Justin Rose again for a third major championship in a row. And at some point, that man is going to pay me back. But I think Bryson at 50-1. I think you've got to do it. Like, he was fourth at the PGA. He's playing better on LIV. He was accurate and long at PGA Championship at Oak Hill. We know, as you've already mentioned, about Gil Hansen redesigning Winged Foot, what he can do in a USGA setup. He was actually he was in prime position to defend that US Open as well. He was in fourth place going into the final round at Torrey Pines and blew up with a 77. I think Bryson is a great bet this week.
I mean, I don't like taking favorites, but I think Scottie Scheffler's a little like Rahm and Augusta. I think Scottie Scheffler's worth considering.
Yeah.
A couple guys I did not ever think would be 35-1 at the US Open. You're telling me that Justin Thomas and Dustin Johnson are both 35-1 at the US Open. Sign me up. I know Justin Thomas couldn't hit water if he fell off a boat right now, but give me one halfway decent ball striking and putting week from Thomas, and I feel like everybody's lost with DJ, but he's a California guy. This is a course. Go ahead.
I'm just so down on DJ right now. Like, I think he peaked at the Masters and he's really not done an awful lot in majors outside of the Open since then. I know he's got a great US Open record. I know he's good in California. I just don't think he's playing well enough. Justin Thomas, you've got to have something major turn around for him as well. So I think they're in the right place in the market, even though at the start of the season, if you thought you can get 35-1 or 40-1 about either of those two golfers in the major, you'd snap people's hands off, I think.
I mean, you told me that Justin Thomas and Justin Rose were the same number going into US Open. I would have put my you'd be crazy, but I think I would take either guy. I think Bryson, depending on what you could get, 45, 50. How about I know Riviera and LA Country Club are different are different tests, but Adam Scott at 70-1 is very interesting.
And he's just pretty good in major championships and US Opens, right, Adam Scott? Like, he has the game that you want. He's long and straight, or long enough and straight enough. And he just seems to have a little bit of a renaissance right now,
If he could only make a few putts.
But it seems to be he's putting okay at the moment. It's actually more like it for a long time. It was his ball striking that was letting him down. I think in the end at Memorial, it was a putter again that kind of cost him. But no, Memorial, he putted really well. It was the approach that let him down at Memorial. So approach was great at the PGA, wasn't so good on the greens, and then the other way around at Memorial. So it's just piecing the two things together at the moment for Adam Scott.
And then another guy who won Riviera a couple years ago, Joaquin Niemann at 80-1.
Yeah, I can't get there. I get it, but there's not enough similarities between Riviera and here to worry about it, and he's just not playing probably well enough.
I mean, how many got long shots will win the US Open? I mean, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
maybe Siwoo Kim, maybe who's the
Siwoo Kim and Mito Pereira are the two I was looking at there.
Maybe the other Kim, the other Kim at 100-1 or 120, 125 got him.
Yeah, I mean, the other people I like in long shots, I quite like Denny McCarthy. I think he's quite interesting. He was 7th at this major
won the Memorial last week. I thought he was going to win for a while until.
I know. 7th at last year's US Open, 29th for the PGA, just gone. I think he could play well here. And Patrick Rodgers always makes cuts in the US Open. So you just want a cut maker in DraftKings. Patrick Rodgers is your guy. George Thomas also designed the Stanford College golf course as well. So there's that to it.
Okay. If you like one Patrick, how about another Patrick? How about Patrick Reed at 80-1? I mean, has anybody seen what he's done the first two majors this year? Like, literally, I've not seen 5 seconds of Patrick Reed.
No, and he's doing well, isn't he? I just didn't see him being a US Open guy. I just don't see it, despite the fact that he was Captain America for a long time. Who knows? I don't really have a beat on Patrick Reed right now, other than he's cheap in DraftKings, is what I would say.
Who do you think's going to be I mean, I'm not sure you play defense like I do, but who would be some guys you would be targeting DK wise? Not bets, but DFS.
So I love Bryson in the range. I love Denny McCarthy. I love Patrick Rodgers. Podrick Harrington, I think, is interesting at 6,600. I think there's some interest there. To kind of, I think you're really struggling once you get past the 7K range to make some confident picks. So you're going to have to take some chances. And I think Podrick Harrington's that one at 6,600. Just come off a runner-up finish at Senior PGA Championship. He's been playing well. I think he was 10th at the Valero. He made the cut Bay Hill on the Honda. So he's playing competitive golf. It was in contention in Europe earlier in the year at Abu Dhabi. So I think Harrington at 6,600 is interesting.
I'm looking at the low nines. I think Charles Haddon's a really interesting guy. I mean, Tony Finau is always going to be popular, but has Justin Johnson ever been cheaper for a major than this one? I don't know.
Not that I can remember, but I think it's valid, right? I think he's a guy that can win you DraftKings this week, but I just have no faith. Zero.
So you're basing it more on current form. I'm basing it on California.
California and US Open form. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think you can come into the US Open trying to find your game, and that's what DJ's going to have to do.
All right, Tom. You know I am a trivia savant. You seemingly have tried forever and ever to fool me. So what do you have up your sleeve today?
Okay, so Tiger Woods famously wins the US Open at Pebble Beach, right? Ernie Els was one of the runner-ups at that Pebble Beach US Open win. Who was the other?
Thomas Bjorn?
No, but it was in that kind of ilk, European, older.
If it's Podrick Harrington, I'm going to be annoyed.
It wasn't Podrick Harrington. No, you were closer with Thomas Bjorn.
How many Ryder Cups did he play in?
That's another trivia question in itself. I don't know. He played in a few.
Did he ever win it? Well, did he ever win him? It wasn't Lee Westwood, right?
It wasn't Westwood. No, and he never won a major championship. Best finish in a major was that runner-up finish in 2000.
Would have taken away the other guy I would have been thinking about.
Have I finally stumped you?
What country is he from?
Well, I'll tell you first how many Ryder Cups he's played in. 4 Ryder Cups.
When was the last one?
2010 at Celtic Manor.
Oh.
And in that Celtic Manor Ryder Cup, he beat Bubba Watson 4-3 in a singles on Sunday.
That doesn't help matters because I know the U.S. couldn't win a Ryder Cup on European soil. Where's he from?
Spain.
That doesn't help because Sergio, but it couldn't have been him. It couldn't have been Olazabal, but
who comes in between those two guys?
Miguel Angel Jimenez?
He was second behind Tiger Woods. So we think
You
about all
should
this.
have just said. You should have just said he was smoking a cigar. Would have
Yeah,
got.
well, I could have said that, and then you'd have got the answer. That's why I wanted to test you. I wanted to catch you out once. And then the other one is, which is the California course? So we're in California again this week. Which California course has hosted the US Open the most times?
The Olympic Club.
No, that was one of the three options, but it's not the right one.
Pebble.
Pebble Beach. Correct.
72, 82, 92, 2000, 2010, 2019.
I'm gonna say yes because I don't know, but that sounds right.
And I know who won all the US Opens there. Jack in 72, Watson in 82, Tom Watson,
Yep.
Tom Kite in 92, Tiger in 2000, Graham McDowell 2010, and Gary Woodland 2019.
Wow. I mean, the points you lost for taking 27 guesses at Miguel Angel as you got back by reading off that kind of knowledge. So I can't quite stump you on the historical facts, but I did get you for once. I did manage to stump you on a question.
I've got one for you.
I've got no chance, but go.
You might be able to get this. It's more recent. It's
Okay.
2005, 2006. Two guys from down under won consecutive US Opens. Who were they?
2005 and 2006. Jeff Ogilvy.
Correct.
2005. What else has he won?
He won the HSBC World Match Play Championship that same year.
Same year. That's one of my clues. It doesn't really help you, isn't it? Down under. So it's not necessarily Australia. Then it could be both.
No, it is us. No, it is us.
Because Michael Campbell was from.
Actually, it is not Australian. He is from.
It's Michael Campbell.
Yes.
Got it. And that was at Pinehurst against Tiger Woods.
Dang it!
You fooled me with the down under. That's how you got me. I couldn't remember that far back because it was way too late to be like anyone from like past years, and obviously Norman never did it, and then Scott wasn't winning majors that early. So yeah, that's what tripped me.
I mean, Steve Elkington won the last major in LA in '95.
Was that the PGA?
Yep, Riviera.
How before Justin Rose won in 2013, who was the last European winner of the US Open? So from 1971 to 2013, there was no European winners. So who was the one that won it in 1970?
Tony Jacklin?
Tony Jacklin. Bonus points if you can tell me how many strokes he won it by.
8?
7. Not far off. That's pretty wild. That took that long, and then all of a sudden we've had an influx of European winners. Because you've had Justin Rose. No, so obviously it was up until Graham, but it was Graham McDowell, wasn't it? Sorry, it wasn't Justin Rose. It was Graham McDowell in 2010. Won at Pebble, didn't he?
And then Rory won it.
And then Rory 2011. Yeah, so it wasn't Justin Rose. It was just before that. So I flunked the question a little bit, but we've had McDowell, Rory, Rose, Keimer, John Rahm, Matt Fitzpatrick since 2010.
Yeah, at this rate, Lord knows where it's going to come from. Might be down under, might be your neck of the woods, might be my neck.
It's going to be Victor Hovland. This is the European takeover, I'm telling you.
I mean, by the way, I'm an FGC golfer. One of my FGC golfers is going to be at the Open. You imagine if he won? I don't think he will, but if he won, there'd be a party down my way, right?
Who's that?
There's an FGCU golfer competing at the who qualified for the Open. I don't know
Yeah.
his name on the top of my head.
Huh. Cool. Be good storylines to look out for there, right? Who do you think, forgetting all of the stuff that we've just talked about, all of the ins and outs, we do this every year, Dylan, every week, every major. Who wins? One and done. You've only got one choice. Who is it?
Scottie Scheffler's going to win the U.S. Open. It's about time. His ball striking's been too darn good, and if he gets one average or above average putting week, nobody in the world will come close to him. Book it.
Are you putting for him? Is that what's happening? Because I don't know.
He won't need a putter this week.
He's just going to hold out everything. He's that good now, tee to green. He'll just hold out everything. My one and done, Victor Hovland. Victor Hovland is going to get that major after coming so close in. He's been in the final group, the penultimate group, and the final group of the last three majors. If it wasn't for Brooks Koepka, he would have won the last one. He's now won at Memorial. He's going to win this US Open, and he's going to go to Hoylake and win that as well. He's going to be a two-time major champion by the end of 2023.
If he can avoid hitting the ball in the bunker, if we allow
the barranca, as they call it this week at the Los Angeles Country Club.
I mean, you saw that one shot at 16. Well, literally, you could not hit the ball. He could not hit the ball.
No. That hurt all my hopes and dreams, but there we go. It is what it is. I don't think he was going to win anyway, so I'm not too upset.
Hey, I'm hoping we get like 25, 30 to 1 at the Open, right?
Yeah. He's going to win it. He's definitely going to win the Open. So it's whether you think he's going to win this one or not.
All right, Tom. Things are getting a little spicy between us, so hopefully things go well, and we make it rain. Rain just like the golfers make it rain a few birdies this weekend.
Especially in Hollywood. It's not a bad place to make it rain, is it?